You think déjà vu is just a weird thought, a little glitch in your memory, a harmless brain hiccup. Oh wait, haven't I been here before? Moment? Fine. But why does it hit your body first? Why does your stomach drop before you even decide what you're feeling? Why does your chest tighten like something just happened? Even when nothing happened, why do your skin and your breath change before your mind catches up? Most people don't ask. They say déjà vu. They say memory glitch. They say the brain misfires. They repeat words, but that's not an answer. Because the strangest thing about déjà vu isn't that it feels familiar, it's that it feels physical, like a wave, like a jolt, like your body just got tapped on the shoulder by something invisible. And if you actually follow that sensation down into the machinery, you find something that changes how you see your own mind. Not as a thing that perceives reality, but as a thing that labels it. And sometimes labels it wrong. Let me show you. Start with something simple, a hallway. You walk into a place you've never been, a friend's apartment, a building you've never stepped inside, a corner you've never turned. And then it happens, a flicker, a snap, a sudden certainty. I've been here. Not as a sentence you calmly think, as a feeling that arrives fully formed. Your eyes lock onto the scene like they're searching for proof, your breathing shifts, your body tightens in a way that doesn't make sense. It's not just familiar, it's urgent. Like your nervous system is saying, pay attention, this matters, you know this. And then your brain does something even stranger. It tries to justify it. It starts scanning memory, trying to find the file, the moment, the origin, and it finds nothing. So you're left with the most unsettling combination possible. Certainty with no source. That's déjà vu. And if you want to understand why it feels so physical, you have to stop treating it like a thought. Because it's not a thought, it's a signal. And the signal comes from deeper. Now here's the key. Your brain has more than one way of saying, this happened before. In everyday life, you treat memory like one thing. You either remember or you don't. But your brain doesn't work in that clean binary way. It runs two different systems that feel similar from the inside, but are completely different mechanisms. One system is recollection. That's when you can actually retrieve the memory, the scene, the people, the sequence, the story. You don't just feel familiarity. You can explain it. Oh, I've seen this before. It was last summer. We were here. This is where we sat. That's recollection. But there's another system, a quieter one, faster, less specific. It doesn't retrieve details. It just produces a tag, known, seen, familiar. And it does that constantly, all day long. Most of the time you never notice it because it works perfectly. You see your phone on the table and you don't marvel at the fact you recognized it. You see your own hand and you don't panic because your brain says, yes, this belongs to you. You hear your own name and something in you lights up automatically. That's not you thinking carefully about it. That's a background system labeling the world in real time, familiar, safe, expected. And here's the strange part. That familiarity tag isn't just a thought. It's attached to a body state. Because familiarity isn't merely knowledge. Familiarity means you've encountered this before, and that matters. And anything that matters to a nervous system triggers a cascade. Attention narrows, muscles tense slightly, your eyes lock, your body orients, not because you consciously chose to, but because the body is designed to move first and interpret later. So when déjà vu hits, it hits like a body event, because it's coming from the system that runs your orientation to reality. Now you might say, okay, two systems, recollection and familiarity, but that still doesn't explain the intensity. Why does it feel like a shock? Why does it feel like the air changes? Why does it feel like time stutters? Why does it land like a wave through your organs? Because déjà vu is not a memory. Déjà vu is what it feels like when the familiarity system fires, without a matching memory behind it. Familiarity without recollection. Déjà vu isn't a memory. It's a familiarity stamp firing alone. And the reason that feels disturbing is simple. Your brain hates unresolved signals. Your brain is a prediction machine. It wants causes. It wants explanations. It wants closure. So when a strong familiarity tag appears in consciousness, your mind assumes there must be something real behind it. It must come from somewhere, because that's how signals usually work. Pain usually means damage. Hunger usually means energy deficit. Thirst usually means dehydration. Signals normally correspond to something. But déjà vu is a signal that can appear without anything you can point to, and that breaks your normal model of yourself. Because you don't just feel familiarity, you feel the contradiction. This is known, but it isn't. That clash is part of the physical wave. Not because it's mystical, because it's a system error inside the machinery that constructs reality. Let me make this concrete. Think about walking into that hallway again. Your brain is processing an insane amount of structure, angles, lighting, depth, spatial layout, textures, sound reflections, smell. You aren't consciously aware of most of it, but your brain is, and it's comparing that pattern to everything you've ever experienced, not in a poetic way, in a mechanical way. Pattern recognition is what nervous systems do. They don't store raw reality, they store compressed structure, this shape, this corner, this configuration. So sometimes a brand new moment can overlap with an old pattern, not the memory itself, the shape of it, the geometry of it, the rhythm of it, the sensory fingerprint, and that overlap can be enough to flip the familiarity switch, even though you've never actually lived this exact moment before. It's like hearing a chord progression that feels like a song you know, even when it's not that song. Something in you lights up, recognized. But when you go searching for the source file, there isn't one. So you get déjà vu. And because that familiarity tag is tied to arousal systems, it doesn't arrive politely, it arrives with a body. But wait, if the feeling is just the tag, why does it feel like the room bent for a second? Why does it feel like reality flickered? Why does it land like a wave in your chest and gut? If it's just a label, why does your body obey it like an order? Now, let's get brutally specific about the wave, because physical feeling is vague. Your body isn't vague. When a recognition signal fires, it doesn't just tag the world, it shifts your internal settings. Your pupils adjust. Because your visual system is preparing to extract more detail, your breathing changes. Not dramatically, just enough to alter chest tension and airflow rhythm. Your muscles tighten slightly, especially around the neck, jaw, shoulders, hands, because orientation isn't passive. Orientation is the beginning of movement, and your gut reacts not in a mystical second brain way, in a mechanical way. Your gut is a motor system packed with nerves and smooth muscle. It responds to state changes. It changes tempo. It changes pressure. It changes sensation. Stomach drop is what a sudden autonomic shift feels like from the inside. It's not a thought, it's a reallocation of resources. Blood flow shifts, muscle tone shifts, breathing shifts, and your internal sensors register that change as sensation. You don't feel sympathetic activation, you feel tightness, you feel hollowness, you feel a wave. And déjà vu is unusual because the trigger isn't external danger, it's not a loud sound, it's not pain, it's not a visible threat, it's a classification signal, a stamp that says this matters. So your body shifts, but your conscious mind can't explain why, which makes it feel eerie, like the body got a message the mind didn't receive. Now, you might be tempted to treat this as rare, a weird quirk, a special kind of glitch. It's not. Surveys keep finding the same thing. About 2 out of every 3 people experience it at least once, and when it happens, it's usually short. A few seconds to a minute. Long enough to feel undeniable, short enough to vanish before you can investigate it. That combination is part of why it sticks. If it lasted 10 minutes, you'd analyze it. If it lasted half a second, you'd dismiss it. But déjà vu lands in the perfect window, long enough to hijack you, short enough to escape. So here's the uncomfortable part. Your conscious mind is like a narrator. It tells you what is happening. It gives the world a storyline. But the narrator isn't in charge of the machinery. The narrator explains the machinery. The machinery runs first. And déjà vu is one of those moments where you catch the machinery in the act, because the machinery stamps a moment as familiar and the narrator can't justify it. So you feel the stamp, raw, untranslated, and that feels like reality cracking. Not because the universe changed, because you noticed the seams in your own construction process. Now let's climb the ladder properly, step by step, because if you jump too fast, this just becomes another set of words. So start with the most basic question. What is déjà vu at the level of mechanism? It's a mismatch between two systems, a system that produces familiarity and a system that produces recollection. Normally, those two systems work together. You see something you've seen before, you feel familiarity, and you remember details. Signal plus source. But in déjà vu, you get signal without source, which means the error isn't in your conscious thought, the error is in the background tagging process. The part of your brain that labels things as known or unknown, and that label has consequences. Because labels are not passive, a label changes your body. You've felt this in other ways. Think about the moment you realize someone is looking at you. Your body reacts before you even know what you're reacting to, a tiny tightening, a shift in breathing, a change in posture. Or think about the instant you hear a loud, unexpected sound. You don't calmly analyze it first, your body flinches. The flinch is not a decision, it's a reflex. And those reflexes can happen insanely fast, tens of milliseconds, faster than conscious thought. That's a nervous system acting before awareness. So when something deep in the system shouts familiar, your body doesn't wait for your mind to approve. Your body orients, it tightens, it scans, it prepares. That preparation is what you feel as déjà vu physicality. And the more intense the familiarity tag, the stronger the orientation response. Because familiarity is not trivia. Familiarity says, this matches something stored. Pay attention. This matters. And notice something subtle. Familiarity isn't just, oh, I recognize that. It's a decision your brain is making about what kind of moment this is. Moments come in categories. New, known, important, ignore. Most of your day gets stamped ignore. Not because it isn't real, but because your brain has limited bandwidth. It can't fully process everything. So it triages, it allocates detail. If something is familiar, your brain assumes, I don't need to spend as much energy decoding this. If something is unfamiliar, your brain assumes, pay more attention, extract more information, update the model. That's why novelty feels sharp and why routine feels smooth. Familiarity is a compression tool. It's the brain saying, I already built a model for this, use it again, and that's useful until the stamp is wrong. Because when the brain stamps a brand new moment as known, two things happen at once. One part of the system relaxes, because known usually means safe and predictable. But another part of the system spikes, because the stamp itself is a high salience event. It's like hearing your name in a crowd, your attention snaps to it instantly. Not because you chose to care, but because your nervous system tags it as high priority. Déjà vu is that same snap, a priority tag, and the physical feeling is what priority tagging feels like from the inside. Your body doesn't have a separate channel for this is just a classification error. It only has a channel for shift state now. So it shifts, and then your conscious mind looks around and asks, what demanded that shift? And in déjà vu, there's no answer, which means your narrator is forced to sit with the worst possible output, high confidence, low evidence. That's why it feels like reality stutters, because the system that normally makes reality feel continuous just threw an inconsistent flag, and you noticed. Now, why would that system misfire? Why would the familiarity tag appear in a brand new place? There are a few ways, and they're all mechanical. One way is pattern overlap. Your brain isn't comparing this moment to a list of memories like a librarian, it's comparing structure, layout, geometry, lighting, timing, sensory texture. So if a new moment shares enough structural similarity to an old one, the familiarity system can fire. Even if the old moment is buried so deep you could never consciously retrieve it, even if the memory isn't a clear event at all, just a fragment, a staircase, a hallway, a smell in late afternoon, a certain echo in an empty room. The system doesn't need the story, it only needs enough match to say known. But there's another mechanism that's even more unsettling. Sometimes déjà vu feels like a repeat because your brain treats the same moment as if it happened twice. Not in time travel terms, in processing terms. Your perception is not a single camera feed, it's assembled. Your brain samples reality, processes it through multiple streams, then stitches it into one coherent experience. And if there's a tiny hiccup in that stitching, you can get a moment that feels like a duplicate stamp. The present hits the system once, then hits again with a tiny delay, and that second pass feels already processed, already known. So you get déjà vu. Here's a useful analogy that makes that double processing version feel real. Imagine an office with two stamps. One stamp says seen before, the other stamp says full file retrieved. In normal life, those stamps arrive together. You recognize something and you can retrieve the story behind it. But sometimes the seen before stamp hits the paper alone, and your conscious mind is left staring at the stamp, trying to reconstruct what file it came from. Or imagine an email filter. Your inbox doesn't understand messages, it tags them. Spam, not spam. Important, not important. And once the tag is applied, your entire system reacts differently. Déjà vu is like a false important tag on a perfectly ordinary moment. The moment becomes urgent, it becomes highlighted, your attention locks because the system is telling you this isn't neutral. And then the mind asks the obvious question, why is this marked? And it can't answer. So you get that unmistakable internal contradiction, high signal strength, zero explanation. That contradiction isn't philosophical, it's mechanical discomfort. Your brain is built to treat strong signals as evidence of real causes. Pain usually means injury, itching usually means irritation, hunger usually means deficit. Strong signals rarely lie, except familiarity can. Because familiarity isn't truth, familiarity is a probability estimate, a fast guess based on pattern overlap. And déjà vu is the moment that guess becomes visible, not as a thought, as a body state. But wait, it's easy to make this sound like a story you can't test, like a poetic explanation for something private. But déjà vu is one of the rare mental events where we can actually touch the machinery. Here's the proof that ends the debate. In certain brain mapping procedures, tiny regions in the medial temporal lobe circuits can be stimulated, and people report déjà vu immediately. Not confusion, not a strange thought, the exact feeling this moment has already happened. That matters because it means déjà vu isn't a philosophy problem, it's a circuit state. There's machinery in your brain whose job is to stamp moments as familiar. And if you trigger that machinery at the wrong time, the stamp appears anyway. Familiarity without a real past event attached. Which means déjà vu isn't mystical. It's a false positive from the recognition system. The brain marking the present as already known when it isn't. So now we have two layers. A, The mechanism exists. We can trigger it directly, but there's still the body wave. So let's pin it down with something measurable, because it feels physical isn't a vibe, it's a measurable shift. And you can watch it happen. When something grabs attention, something novel, something meaningful, your skin changes conductance. Not because you're dripping sweat, because sweat glands are controlled by autonomic circuits and they flicker on with arousal. The timing is the important part. The response doesn't happen instantly. It typically begins about 1 to 4 seconds after a stimulus, then peaks a few seconds later, which means the body's wave has a built-in delay. Something triggers the system, and then the body state rises. Déjà vu fits that shape perfectly. The familiarity tag fires, attention locks, the orientation response initiates, and then a second later, you feel the surge. That's why it can feel like it arrives after the moment, like the world flickered and then your body reacted. But it's the same sequence every time. Signal first, body shift next, awareness last. The mind doesn't cause the wave, the mind notices it, and there's another mechanical piece that makes the wave feel so strong: mismatch. Your nervous system reacts hard to mismatch. When the internal prediction doesn't match the incoming data, you get a spike, not as a philosophical insight, as a body shift. Because mismatch means something about the world is not what we thought it was. And that's the exact situation where a nervous system needs to pay attention. Déjà vu is mismatch in its purest form. The familiarity system says known, but your recollection system says empty. So your brain is holding two incompatible outputs at the same time. That tension is what you feel. It's not the hallway itself that makes you uneasy. It's not the lighting. It's not the smell. It's the contradiction inside the labeling process. Your brain is, in a sense, arguing with itself. One system pushing certainty forward, another system withholding the explanation. And when your brain detects internal conflict like that, it does what it always does. It mobilizes, it increases attention, it increases scanning, it increases readiness. You don't get to vote on that. That's the whole point of these systems. They exist to act before deliberation. So, déjà vu doesn't just feel like I've been here, it feels like something important just happened, I don't know what it was, find it. That find it command is the physical wave. It's your nervous system searching. Now think about the real-world consequence of that design. When the orientation response hits, you tend to do the same few things every time. You pause, even if it's tiny. Your eyes widen slightly. You scan edges and corners. Your breathing changes. Your muscles tighten around the joints that let you move fast. It's the same package you see in animals when something changes in their environment: freeze, orient, assess. Déjà vu borrows that package without giving you a real external target. So the state is unmistakable, but the reason is missing. And that's why déjà vu feels so wrong. Not because it's dangerous, because it's directionless. It's a mobilization with nowhere to go. Now, step back and notice what this means. Déjà vu doesn't just feel strange, it feels destabilizing, because it targets the one thing you assume is solid, your internal sense of, I know. We treat certainty like it's a window, like it means you're seeing something clearly. But certainty is not a window, it's a signal, a nervous system output that says, trust this. And déjà vu is the demonstration that the trust signal can appear without the thing you think it's trusting. Which means the feeling of familiarity is not proof of a past, it's proof of a stamp. Your body can enter the known world state even when the world is objectively new. And once you realize that, a colder realization follows. How many other feelings of certainty are stamps? How many I know this moments are just classification outputs, produced fast, produced automatically, produced before you ever get a vote, Déjà vu isn't unsettling because it's supernatural, it's unsettling because it shows you the order of operations. Your body and brain commit first, your awareness arrives later and calls it me. And you can see the same principle in the opposite direction. Sometimes you look at something you know perfectly, your own hand, a common word, a familiar street, and for a split second it feels unfamiliar. Not because the object changed, because the tag flickered. That should tell you something important. Familiarity and unfamiliarity aren't properties of the world, they're outputs, they're stamps. Normally, those stamps are so stable you mistake them for reality itself. This is familiar, that is new, that is mine, that is safe. But in rare moments, the stamp becomes visible. Déjà vu is one version. The familiar stamp appears with no memory behind it, and your whole system reacts as if the stamp is truth, because most of the time, it is. This isn't a flaw, it's a cost of efficiency. It's how you move through life without having to rebuild reality from scratch every second. But efficiency has a cost. It means sometimes you'll feel absolute certainty, and only later discover it was just a classification signal. So let's bring this together. Here's the full chain, clean and simple. 1. Your brain has a system that generates familiarity signals. 2. Those signals normally pair with recollection. 3. Sometimes the familiarity signal fires without recollection. 4. That mismatch creates the déjà vu experience. 5. Familiarity is wired into arousal and orientation circuits. 6. So your body shifts first and your mind explains afterward. That's the mechanism. And that mechanism is why déjà vu feels so physical. It's not in your head in the way people mean when they say that. It's in your nervous system, in your timing, in the order your body and mind operate. You think you feel first and then react. But the truth is colder. Your body reacts first. Your awareness comes last. And déjà vu is one of the few moments where you actually notice the order. You catch it in the act, which is why it feels like reality is cracking, because the narrator part of you loses control for a second. It gets handed a finished body state and a stamped label, and it has to build a story fast enough to keep you coherent. And when it can't, you feel the seam. So the next time it happens, the next time you walk into a room and the world suddenly feels duplicated, pay attention to what comes first. Not the thought, the body, the tightening, the stillness, the scan. Because déjà vu isn't something you think, it's something your nervous system does. A recognition signal with a body attached. The body shifts first, the narrator shows up later, trying to explain what already happened. Awareness comes last, not comfort. This happens before you can stop it, before you can even name it truth.